Can dim that down a little bit. All right, welcome everyone to the morning brief and the masterclass on investing with military precision. Today is Thursday, finally end of the week, at least as far as the market's concerned, and almost everybody's off into a big long weekend. And I know for me, it's well deserved, probably for you all as well. All right, let's talk about the podcast. Again, that's the parent of all this. I did have the big launch plan last night. Hopefully you saw some of that. There were myriad tech issues, if you will, but the good news is we went for it. We had it live streaming on several different Facebook sites, and everything was going great until it didn't, and then and then we got it right back, and we got it from there. So what we have for you, and I will put this out on the YouTube channel, is when we piece it all together, which we should have done here before you even get the replay. We have a kind of beginning to end where you can hear all the guests. And again, it's short enough to where if you're not really going to listen to all the podcasts, or if you want a teaser of the podcast to figure out which ones you want to listen to, you know, each guest is on there for just a few minutes, but it's actually pretty funny. I think it was a great product. I was very thrilled with that. So we should have that on the YouTube channel here shortly. Again, just go otot for finding that. Now, as far as the numbers, we did get a huge plus up in numbers. Got something like 111, my new day record yesterday for downloads, and a bunch more throughout the night. And I'd expect, so right now we're sitting at 464 total downloads. I don't have visibility into how many total subscribers, and I guess I kind of don't care because it's really the total number of downloads where you get measured for the different lists that are out there. There are 21 episodes out there. There will be one going live later this afternoon. And then you can expect, now I should be able to settle into my groove, which you can expect one podcast released every day at around 3:30. So that's what I will do. So from the podcast thing, I really couldn't be happier, and thought all of that went very well. And you should have seen the show we had going on in here with 6 of us in there. It was pretty fun. All right, let's get into what we're going to do today. So again, make sure, nope, we have all veterans in here today. So here's our mission objectives. We're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're going to talk the auto stocks, excuse me. So from an auto stock perspective, there are the haves and the have-nots. If you are in the EV space, the electric vehicle space, you are a have. If you are, at least as far as the stock's concerned, if you are in the old-time auto space, then you are a have not. Yesterday with Tesla's big move up, and then of course it's going to move up again today, ridiculously based off of the Q2 numbers that they released. Again, those are unverified, but as much as Elon Musk does speed with several things, I don't think he really has to speed that much anymore. So they should be accurate from there. But they did in market cap overtake Toyota, which was the single largest car maker. So process this for a second. Tesla is the largest automaker in the world. What? Just don't buy it. But you know my theory, but then you can't argue with the numbers. So I will admit that, yes, I continue to be completely wrong on Tesla and the stock. But we'll take a look at some names. You see at the bottom there, Tesla, NIO, Nikola, and then Toyota, Ford, and GM. So we'll go over those. Of course, our flow is going to be standard. We'll talk mostly long-term stuff, some short-term moves around the open. We are setting up in a nice big green day, which sometimes that happens before you have the 3-day weekend. The real players in the industry are actually already off at the Hamptons or you know, at the Martha's Vineyard right now already anyway. But everybody gets all excited going into the big weekend, and it's like bye, and you get these huge moves up. So we shall see if that continues. But we'll talk resistance earlier or here in a few minutes. For contingencies, since I'm going to spend this weekend, now that I'm kind of caught up and I have the big launch behind me, which was a lot of work, let me just tell you that. So what I need to do is catch up on a bunch of end of quarter closeout paperwork. And then this weekend, I'm going to basically troll some pilot sites, some investing sites, some blog sites, and see if I can generate some interest for the room. I would really like about 15 to 20 people in here that are active. That's really all you need. Everybody else can be kind of passive and just watching along. That's fine. But I would like to bump those numbers up. If, however, we would get into next week, and if I, for some reason, hit an absolute home run and get a bunch of people, the room is limited to 100. So if you, as the paying folks, ever try to log in and it says room full or unable or something like that, you immediately go to steve@otot.now and say, I can't get in the room. We will start booting people until you can get in because you paid for it after all. Standard disclaimer, financial education at the bottom. Do your own due diligence before you buy more Ford today, because I'm not going to recommend it. So that's on you. All right, let's go up and take a look at the market for the past year. And we're really going to focus on this channel. And now we've had 3 days up in most recently here. So that's kind of interesting. You have the two big red stripes. That was Wednesday and Friday of last week. This week's kind of been all up, and it was not looking like that coming off of a very negative headline weekend. So talk about technicals. So we are re-entering the channel. So there's two, I mean, if you watched Kramer last night, I didn't because I was kind of busy, but I caught an overview. But he had one of his famous technical chartists, Carol, I'm blanking on the name, but talking about this channel, and now we're technically back in the channel. And if we fall back out of it, it's like there's just no bottom. We're going to go right back. If it fails again, then we're going right back out. She's saying this re-entering the channel should have us exiting the top of the channel now. So it doesn't take us to new all-time highs, but it does take us up to the 335, almost 340 level. Well, high 330s. So we shall see. I still think there's the smart move here is to take risk off going into the election. Maybe I miss out on a month or two. I literally do not care. I just don't want to go completely aggressive into the election without either hedges in place or covered calls, which is what most of you see, or even holding some cash or even turning around and going short. So a bunch of different options out there. Let's focus in on the past 5 days, and you'll see it's basically green, green, green. That's almost a straight line. So again, pretty tough. And then nice couple of stripes up there right this morning, and those big green moves up here in the pre-market. So I don't really see the super good news other than, can really Tesla carry the market higher? Is the cult so bad that if Tesla goes up, the whole market, everybody just buys everything because Kumbaya is being sung all around? I don't know. Maybe. We shall see. Let's click over to earnings. There are some earnings out today. So let's see if I recognize any of these names. I can't remember a headline. Let's scroll up a little bit or down. Thank you. That's fine. JP Morgan, click on that. That must be, oh, sorry, that's a dividend. Let's scroll down to the earnings. And that's all we have for earnings today. So again, going into the big weekend, so nothing to really report there, and nothing should be moving as a coordinate. So let's go ahead and check the headlines. Down to CNBC page, what we're going to see is that everything is in the green across the board. Look at that. So pretty happy. And let's go across to Europe, where I think everything was about 2% in the green last time I looked. So yeah, at least 1%, often 2%, almost across the board there. Off to Asia was up pretty big, except for the Japanese market was just barely moving, but the other two are pretty much higher for the ones we look at for the major size-wise, if you will. We'll look at our numbers from yesterday. So NASDAQ was up big and the S&P up nice. Dow down a little bit. VIX, though, dropping, just like I said, just like I said it wouldn't, right? I thought it'd stay above 30. It's not. It's fading down below. So I will tell you, I would look for a trade setting up. If today is kind of nice. Yeah, we're looking at NEO. We're looking right at it. Yes, sir. We'll get to that in a minute, though. As far as volatility, though, one thing from a trading perspective, I don't use this for investing, but one thing from a trading perspective, certainly there's going to be a long the VXX here once the market does come in, for whenever that's going to be. Maybe we stay in this euphoric mode until we're to the top of the channel. That would probably take a month to get there because it's such a big move. But there's going to be a time when it turns around and comes back in, and it will probably be pretty ugly like it was last time that we saw. Okay, let's take a look at the bonds. I saw that they were creeping up a little bit, if I remember right. Well, at least the 10-year was. That was the one I was looking at. Check out oil. Above 40, golf clap. Everybody's happy there. So 40 to 60 is a normal range. We'll check out gold. All right, then a little bit mixed across the board, and we'll go back to the headlines. All right. We're going to take a look down here, and all right, so the jobs that we're looking at here, June smashes expectation, unemployment rates to 11.1. All right, let's see. You've got some jobless claims rise more than expected in the final week. That was kind of earlier. Uh, we have Tesla jumping 9%. That's going to carry the kind of market day from there. So after reporting a big beat on second quarter deliveries, again, this is not earnings. This is a deliveries number. Remember, Tesla reports non-GAAP stuff, so they can report whatever they want. So of course he had his big, so I think it's a big gimmick, if you will. He's grandstanding more than Trump, it seems sometimes. But he had the big call out yesterday, or excuse me, Tuesday, to his employees. You know, give it everything you've got. I need you. We need to make our numbers. We're all in. And then, yay! Of course, 2 days later, now he's reporting, I've counted all the cars, and look at us, we're amazing. So I don't know. That seems like grandstanding, but I'll try not to hate on Elon Musk too much. But anyhow, that's what's going to take the market pretty much higher today is off of that. Okay, we talked about the jobs. Upgrades Avis to buy. No way would I touch a rental car company right here, especially after Hertz just folded, what, a week ago, 2 weeks maybe? Good for Morgan Stanley. There's obviously, when you take the risk, you'll get the reward if they're right. I think it's probably a little too soon to go COVID 0 USA 1 and start buying the transportation stocks. Just would not do that. Okay. All right. Speaking of grandstanding, I do think this qualifies as larger payments to Americans. And in the next coronavirus relief bill, there is going to be one. That's clear, and I think it's going to be a political football pretty much across the board. Business loan deadline, again, they wanted to apply for it. You had until, I believe, the end of August. They want to push that. That's probably smart because there's going to be some people that are affected more than other. Yes, born in South Africa. Well, I don't know. Obama, right? Anyway, so we shall see. I do think that makes him ineligible. All right, small caps. Yep, I think there's always room to move up in those. Okay, here's an interesting one from McDonald's. When you think of U.S. writ large, McDonald's is kind of the restaurant. So they are stopping their reopening plans. So they're kind of basically freezing where they are. So that's kind of a big deal. So we shall see. Yeah, Putin will be around until 2036 or 2076. I don't know. The guy's never going to go away. He'll die in office. Okay, and coronavirus record numbers, that's a daily thing. So I think really the market's kind of gone numb to that, which means we'll get euphoric and kind of continue up until we don't. And then that's when you get those big 2 and 3% moves down, which is a little bit profit taking. And then it's a little bit of the market coming in. Okay, let's look at our long thesis for the day. All right, Tesla, there she is. That does, let me look at my left side, if you can follow along, stock number 22. If you look there, how to read that pre-market is you see the high and the low are both above the closing price. So the last transaction, 11.19 was the close. And if you look at the bid ask, it's a $10 spread between 12.32 and 11.43. That's $90 spread. Get my math straight this morning. But when you look at the stock, yeah, it's just screaming higher. And you back that up, you think November or October it was down in the 200 range. That's just crazy. I still have a street value of it at 150, so I look dumb in anything related to Tesla. So I guess I will just move on. But before I do, let's go ahead and take a look at, we're going to come down and look at FinViz real quick, just to kind of see how crazy. Now you're supposed to value things by profitability, right? Okay. Tesla, if they're profitable this quarter, will need 4 consecutive quarters, which then they can say that they are profitable. If they become profitable, when you look at that second column over, they will get rid of their dash, meaning they don't make any money. And if they can be profitable this quarter, they have a forward projection of a PE ratio of 98. When market's average is like 22, so they're only like 5 times the market average, and they make cars. It's not like they're making smartphones where they're clearing hundreds of dollars for a little handheld sort of thing. It's kind of crazy. So it's just it defies all logic out there. When you look at the numbers in the right-hand column, the performance, that makes you cry, especially if you're somebody that says negative things about this company, which means we've missed all of that. So let's just not look at that column. The short float there are some non-believers, and I'm one of them. And there's going to be a time when I finally get the conviction to move back in short. I still have permanent burns from the last time I did it, so I'm not going to be as aggressive this time. But yeah, this cannot last. This shall not stand, but we shall see. Okay, let's get rid of this chart. It's making me nauseous. All right, looking at NEO. The move up in NEO has also been eye-watering. I do have this in the book. I do not have nearly enough of it, or enough of people have it. But when you really look at it, it was down, in October. There was a big concern about all the Chinese EV and who was going to come out of this the best of breed. They have made, I saw a headline, I think it's 3,000 cars now. They win the website war. If you have time to kill, go to neo.com, look at the coolest cars on the planet. But that doesn't mean they're going to make money. It doesn't mean you should be a shareholder. But I do believe their story. I think it's probably run up too much too fast. So when all of the EV world kind of takes a breather, I think there will be a better entry point in the future. So don't expect to see that coming in anytime soon. The next one, middle left there, Nikola, that's the EV truck space. They also have hydrogen trucks out there, which again, I've used in the military, and I think they're just not all that usable, but that's an opinion. But the military has used them for years, because obviously I left like 8 years ago and they were mainstream even when I was a lieutenant. So that's what, a 30-year space. We've had hydrogen-based pickup trucks. But anyhow, you look at the big move up was to 100. It's kind of settled down in the mid 60s. I have some. I'm not excited about it. I would get excited if this thing got back down to about 40 or so. But anyhow, if it's something you want to be, this was one of these. If you're like, but I really think it's going to go to 1,000, Steve. And I heard what you said about Tesla, Steve. And boy, you couldn't have been more wrong. You could say, put 10 shares in there, and then we'll just call it good. So if you have to have some, buy some, but don't buy a whole lot. I think you get a better entry. And then the last three I wouldn't touch. So let's go down to Toyota and take a look. So obviously, drop from 140 down to 110. That's not actually as big a drop as the others, to be honest. And retraced about half of that. Toyotas last forever, which is a problem when you think of making money. That's why everybody thinks Apple's on the take, and they kind of are, for making sure their stuff fails. My iPhone 10 is magically falling apart and failing like bit by bit going into the next Apple 12 buying season. So I think they've got my number. And same with my daughter, who bought the exact same phone at the same time. It's like they're programmed to fail right now. So but Toyotas don't. They last forever. They literally, you can put 300,000 on them if you want them. Ford, I can't say the same. Again, Ford, I've often said that if they just stuck with what they do best, pickup trucks and Mustangs, they could make a ton of money, but they still try to do everything. And they're still trying to compete from basically what I would call a dinosaur type perspective. They're just always they're a step behind. They should, it's the football player that should have retired like 4 years ago, but won't give up. So they have, if I remember right, suspended their dividends, so they're not paying that out right now. That'll come back at some point in time, but not anytime soon. All right, stick out GM and pull up that chart again. Hit the dividend chart. Actually, they've suspended it too, because they've missed. I can tell by the D is missing by the E. So normally you see the ED pattern. That's a weird phrase, ED, but when you don't see that, that means they're not paying it anymore. So the not paying their dividend either. You could buy these at some point in time. I would say it's way too soon. And yeah, you can have Honda. Not even gonna talk at them at all. All right, let's start looking into the tabs for some short names. I'm gonna see if the Predator has anything for on the short side. All right, there is nothing to short. He has spoken. Yes, short the Turbo VIX. If you short the Turbo VIX, you should lose money just for saying short the Turbo VIX. That's too funny. Put the TVIX in the left and put in the big screen now, because I have to see the numbers. This is just too funny, because you're right. We are set up in a euphoria type of day with jobs numbers. So you short it at 100. So it's at 117 down to 100. So it's at 9%. I don't know. Let's watch it. You can take that if you want and prove me wrong. Tesla sure does. So whatever. All right, Neo up 12%, or excuse me, 18%. Francesca's Holdings, there's got to be a headline associated with that and being up over 100%. So let's click on that. Mobile app, really a mobile app. There's got to be something a little bit more than coming up at the up 100% on a mobile app. Yeah, let's not touch Francesca's. Workhorse is the name we talk about. It's good to see that continuing higher. Again, when you look at this chart, it can do no wrong. So 19 up to 21. So here's what's happening. So everybody that is a Tesla fan and is hugely in the right column, not over here with me in the wrong column, but everybody that's in the correct column, I should say, is the names that are going to skyrocket today if Tesla continues up. They're going to drag up names like Workhorse, going to drag up Shell, SHLL, going to drag up Blink, BLNK. We shall see. That hasn't happened yet, so maybe that's wishful thinking since I own some, but we shall see. So I wouldn't touch Workhorse, but gosh, it does just go straight up. Would not touch American either. All right, and then yeah, the other two are trading that are in the red there. Let's go over to the top 10 gainers. Tesla was up close to 10%, so it's fading just a touch. Paycom, not enough. Yep, Shopify, not really moving enough, even though they have the volume. So this might be a Tesla market today. We shall see. And again, this quarter is critical. So if they are profitable this quarter, they are eligible for the S&P 500. And I would tell you that decision would take about 8 seconds of of the S&P 500 committee taking them in and then watching it crash down to 200, which would be kind of funny, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'll stop saying that. All right, Plug, it's going in because we're going to take a look at Plug. It's at 888 going up to 9. See if there's a story. Potential further near gain. Nope. Underlying call. So that's an options analysis. Obviously, options expire today, not tomorrow. Even though they might have tomorrow's date on them, it's today because it's the end of the trading week. So we shall see. We'll put that down our list of things to watch, since we've had that in our top of mind in a while. BlackRock got a huge shout out by Kramer for all the bond buying they're doing. So I think that's going to continue to go higher. I think it's a straight climb to 6, not 600, not a. Oh, good. I just saw a breaking headline we'll talk about here in a second once we get done with this. The BlackRock doesn't have a day trading move in it, but certainly at that price point, but it's still going there. Gotcha. Plug following Tesla. That is a smart analysis, if you will. Okay, let's look at the next tab. See if there's anything we've got. All right, the TVIX short on 100K. That's about it. We got Novavax shorts. Let's click that. All right, 79 down to 77. That's not much. Well, 3%. Updates to leadership team. How would you like to be part of that headline? And it's selling right off. So don't know the backstory there, but it's kind of funny. All right, let's check out DFIN. $12 to $12.80. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's obviously not a that's not a Tesla follower, but could be. Any thesis with that? Just euphoria in the air. Did we look at Novavax? Was that a short? Invax was a short, but not much move. Small move. All right. So Biomed has at the bottom. They were part of the. There was the big. They were in a vaccine headline, but they're not moving on much volume. Let's look at the next tab. Neo, we already know about. Shell, yep, right there, 11% long. So we'll just pull up those, probably go around that hole. Now I'm kind of not happy because Blink is not following this pattern. So wake up, Blink. You're supposed to be following this. So Shell would be a long based on Tesla pulling it up. Carnival long. I guess people looking for value, trying to put money to work. Hilton Grand Vacations. I would rather put money there instead of Carnival. Let's take a look at that. The low volume, we don't need to look at that. All right. Well, I guess we'll put Carnival in there since, what do we got? CUK instead of CCL, CUK. All right. I wonder if that's actually the UK version of Carnival. I don't know. We'll look at that for a second. Bring up the other tab while you do here real quick, and then we'll get that answer. All right. We talk about Francesca's. No, don't know what's different from Carnival Corporation saying consumer cyclical, so it's not the cruise line. Interesting chart, though. It's been down at 10, now it's up at 12, so it looks like it's got a huge move higher. We shall see. All right. Avis, we already talked about, got the big upgrade. That you could make that play. Avis is CAR. That could be a day trade long. Let's look at the chart. Let's back out the chart a little bit to see. So yeah, that there's your value play, would be an Avis long. We'll take a look at that. Let's pull up, well, we can't pull up, yeah, we can. LKNCY. Tell you what, let's switch over to TD Ameritrade and we'll start setting up our charts. So the headline that I was so happy about, if you can bring up the CNBC there. So if you followed along the Jeffrey Epstein, you don't need to bring it here, but so show that and just bring this up so I can see it. There we go. So if you saw, so the market's still well into the green as we kind of set up the appropriate charts there. You can put Avis in the right, which is CAR. If you follow the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and if you saw there's a 4-episode deal on Netflix or something, it's atrocious, it's terrible. I mean, I didn't realize how bad this guy could have been. Well, his partner in crime just got arrested. The FBI just took her in, and obviously she's just as guilty as guilty as guilty as guilty. So why was she getting a pass while he got tossed in jail and then murdered or killed himself or whatever? But anyhow, total got a complete pass on this whole thing. So I'm glad that they're bringing her in. That's another good news story. Okay, starting to think about my trade. Ooh, I like that. Let's see. We'll have defend long is going to be for you. Okay. We'll keep Tesla up in the middle just as a curiosity. I can't really take Novavax short. I can't short the TVIX. Actually, let's put TVIX in the middle. I just want to watch it because that thing should move. Again, taking TVIX would be a short. Ooh. Well, I like that. Yeah, I'm going to take TVIX short. So I'll do what I said I wasn't going to. Now, I would not do this with real money. So I will take TVIX short for the purposes of our day trade challenge, and I will take a $2 stop, which is grossly conservative. But if we do have we just arrested a bad person, we have White House holds a hearing, COVID-19 hearing, so maybe we get some good news out of that. So we shall see if that holds. All right, so I will take it TVIX short with the $2 stop. I will take it in. Let's see, market's likely to sell off right at the open, so that would back me up. I will take it at the 2-minute point and then out at 5. All right, and you're taking a longer play in early and then letting it cook. Yeah, we should take Tesla long, right? Because I said it's short. I see what you're doing there. Okay, we have got 50 seconds before the open. Let's see, my backup trade. I do like how Avis is looking. I don't know if it's good enough name to be able to take. It's already up 10% going into the open. I don't know if it's going to have enough staying power. But so we're going to ditch car and put Luckin because that's just fun to watch. And I like it. You remember yesterday it went from 245 to 315, 7-hour move right out of the gate. I could see it easily going above 310. So I'm surprised I didn't see Berner hopping in the room and taking Luckin long. At the last second trade, he's got 17 seconds to get in the room and make your trade. So we shall see. But I could see that immediately going up. I don't think you could use a 10-cent stop today though, because it's got too much movement in it. You'd have to go 20, which cuts down your R's obviously. All right, we are in the C. So I'm in there at 2 to 5, and you're in at 2 to 20. Just the 2 trades to watch today. I haven't ever really watched a VIX or a TVIX, so we shall see how they act. Kind of watching the overall market first. So I thought the market would drop initially with some profit taking. So far, I'm wrong for the first like 20 seconds or so. For my trade in TVIX, I would like to see it back up to about a 108.5 level. I would like that. If it goes up to 109, now that I wouldn't like it because it would have backed up too far. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Lucking off to the races, up 3 cents to the positive side. I do like that. All right, if we can get a refresh here, sir, and let's go SPY over here. All right, 1 minute down. So not a bad setup there, and I defend for going long. Hopefully it comes down to maybe 12.55 or so for you. That'd be kind of perfect, I think. Luckin's at 290. En route to 3. I do think it stripes right to 3. I think people are going to look at what it did yesterday and just like it's going to go to above 3 today and stay above 3. But we shall see. All right, Dow's up 360. NASDAQ up 110. SPY up 120. All those are good numbers. We can stop watching Luckin here. Let's put Tesla off to the right as we approach minute 2. So yeah, Tesla came in a little bit there. So only up 8%. All right, there's both of our entries on TVIX. That's a bad entry for me from where I could have gotten it, of course. So we'll draw that entry point and then 10, and then we'll tack on $2 above that, which is, I think, a nice and safe. It should hold that unless the market does a significant reverse. So 108.49 is my stop because it's a short. All right, see some backing up or some good move there. So it looks like a decent entry, 1273. And then the lower stop on 1273 would be 1253. That looks very safe, so I like that entry. So yeah, let that cook for 20 minutes. I think you're definitely going to be in the green there. Look at the move down in Tesla, 22 bucks. It looks more significant than it is due to the price point, though. All right, let's start looking around off to the right. We were going on the right screen. Let's take a look at plug long. All right, it is, well, it's really, I mean, gosh, that was Tesla's chart with a different, you're right. So it's trading almost exactly like it, which makes sense. Let's put Shell, since we're talking that story. You expect to see the same chart out of, yep, Shell. And then Blink, the LNK. Yeah, pretty much the same move there, except for, well, now that's telling me Blink's 9% in the green. I did not see that move earlier, but I do like it, that's for sure. All right, for our trades, both of them proceeding nicely. Neither of them are at an R yet, but that's working. All right, let's see. Let's look at CUK. We were going to look at this long because it had been kind of crushed. So let's pull that up on the right-hand screen. Okay, not a bad entry there, but it's really not moving a whole lot. And it's a name we haven't heard of a whole lot, so we'll kill that. Car, I was going to take, this was my primary until I said I would take a stab at the VIX, which is probably going to embolden me that I can do this, even though trading the TVIX is dumb. So even if this works, I don't think the lesson should be learned that you should do it. Oh, look at that. Look at that nice move up since the entry. Boy, 25.40. That's a $2 move up. So again, on the Morgan Stanley upgrade, Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan? I think it was Morgan Stanley. So scroll down, and I guess it doesn't matter. You can scroll there if you want, see if you can find it. It was about halfway down. So yeah, it was about 11% on their upgrade. And then, gosh, it's up over 20% now because it's been beat up. So if you entered this trade really anywhere, it'd be, if you're throwing a dart if you're in it at the gate. But if you take it at the 2-minute point when it's up at 25.90 and say, okay, I'm going to go long, even with 50-cent stop, that's a 3-hour trade right there, and you're already back out of it. You can hold it if you want, though. Okay, both the trades that we are in are up over 1. That's nice. When you look all the way to the left at the SPY, though, yeah, continuing basically straight up. Got the Dow up 430 now. I don't expect that to just continue all day, but we shall see. All right, other names to look at. Let's check out Luckin. It'll be above 3. That's my assessment, and I'm wrong. So it got up to 295 and then kind of came back in. All right, let's look at Nicola, excuse me. Okay, kind of following that trade, if you will. And let's check out NEO. You'd expect to see the same thing. Kind of coming in. Again, not where I would want an entry point on it. And let's look at Ford, since we're talking the car names today. Hey, Ford actually getting a little bit love. Now, I will say once Ford and GM reinstate their dividends, you will see a jump. But that's not anytime soon. All right, I think I'm back out of my trades, and we can score mine at the 5-minute point, which was last minute. Yep, so it ended there. Oh man, I got so what's that? 0.6 R, maybe 0.7 R. We'll say 0.7. If we need to measure it, we will. Otherwise, we shall see where they trades up. So I've scored myself as a 0.7. Again, we can get in and get that more relevant if we need to. Let's leave our trade, since you've got till 20 minutes, let's leave our trades now and go to the big board. Should be nice, lots of green to take a look at. All right, we got Workhorse 16, NEO 12, Luckin 10. I like all those. BLNK, been a little bit of pain. I entered at 6, and it's not close to 6 yet, but it's getting there. I'm happy with that. Brigham Minerals got some options. I do have to rewicker some options today, so if you're nervous, don't be. It's top of the list. Northwest Bio is a biotech that has been kind of on a straight move up lately. We shall see. Actually, put that in there. Let me confirm that it's in WBO. Okay, that is not showing it. What chart are we on? A 15-minute? So let's go to like a 20-day. 0.35. Oh, that's right. It's sorry, it's a penny stock. I'm thinking of something else. So we can kill that. It's going to move, a penny, and it gets a 3%. So never mind on that. Airlines up a little bit. ExxonMobil on the move. Okay, let's look and see what's in the red today, if much of anything. All right, Clickstream, got a psychedelic name. Nicola, we talked about. Actually in the red overall. That's kind of impressive. So let's pull that chart. So that'd be what, low 60s? 63 got down to 61 pre-market. So it's kind of bouncing back up. That's got almost a trade entry right there with the big red stripe down if you were going to turn around and go long. All right. Activision a little bit in the red, and Sony. So, but not much to even really talk about. Let's go back green again and go back to our trading board. And let's put Luckin over in the right-hand column because I like looking at that. Okay, kind of steadied out. Kind of followed yesterday's pattern, except yesterday's pattern was a lot more pronounced. All right, let's talk about let me look through the chat here. I think we talked about everything. Yeah, defense tough because you're right. It's an aggregate. It's a fund, and the issue is you kind of need. It's tough to get 3 R's out of it. So if you go, okay, I don't like anything for a 3 R trade. I'm going to do a 1 R trade, which is a coin flip. So you got to be right more often than not. Otherwise, you shouldn't even bother doing it. But if you're high conviction and you do a 1 R trade, you can. maybe 1.5, but I would set a goal. And the 3R, you're just generally not going to have that single stock type of move to be able to get there. But we shall see. And then, of course, the TVIX, I think that probably is the other direction, right? So now you're talking about your move being muted because you have so many stocks in there. Well, now you're in a triple levered, options based what? I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? So a trading vehicle that's now triple levered, so it's probably oversensitive. So that's why I went with the $2 stop. I didn't need that. I didn't need any stop because it went down from where I bought it. But you can't take, if I would have gone with $1 stop, now I'm at an hour and a half. There's no way I could have gone with 50 cents. I mean, just no way, because it moves too much, and you can be stopped out in a heartbeat. All right. That's it. Let's see, for the topic today, I was going to talk personal savings rate. So generally, when we talk, and we'll go over to Investopedia and just kind of look real quick, it's a percentage, to go down to the key takeaways. It's really a percentage of disposable personal income, so after taxes. So when you think, okay, you make 80 grand a year, you pay 10 in taxes, so it's 70 grand. Excuse me. And they calculate it with, your savings rate is your disposable income, so after taxes, and then it subtracts your expenses. Well, obviously you would never do it that way because you would just buy more stuff and never have any disposable income. So you set it ahead of time, right? And that's how you mentor your kids. It's like, save 10%, 15%. But just realize that it's an after tax type number, which is different from what I had always used growing up, my gross, right? So if I'm making 100K, and I'm saying, if I'm maxing out my 401k and that's taking 15,000, well, that's a 15% rate. It's technically a higher rate than that. So I've always, when you get into philosophies, I don't like doing after-tax math because it requires people to think too much. Maybe if I was making 400K and higher, where now that's such a significant move, I would think that way. But I'm not, so I don't. But for most of your folks just entering the workforce, I still think it's easier to, hey, what are you making gross every month? Let's try to save 10 to 15% of that. 10% used to be plenty. I would say 15% is a much better number now. The threats that are out there are the same threats that are always out there. Is inflation could increase from all of this money juicing. We shall see. And then the long-term performance of the market, when you really look at, okay, if the long-term performance of the market is at 10 to 12%, which it is, I mean, it's a fact. But then you come off of what do we just have from the run up from 2009 to basically 2020, and just back it up, call it the end of 2019. When you look at that move, if you had a reversion to the mean, and this is where a lot of the big box financial firms are saying, everybody needs to start right now and start dampening expectations for this decade in the 20s, if you will, and start planning more around the 8% for your aggressive and around 4%, 4 or 5% for your moderates, even, just because it just can't continue the straight up move that it's been on. So consider. I still like the way we invest because we're fairly focused. We have individual names, and we're going to go laser in on best of breed, and that gives you the potential. And it has worked, of course, but that's kind of where we're focusing our effort with investing. Yep, I agree. What you're saying there, Predator. The deductions, yes, it's really more of a sophisticated move. It's saying your actual taxes, not necessarily. It's assuming your deductions are on pace with what your actual tax rate is. And you're right. You could play all kinds of games there. So. All right, if it's okay with you guys, I have a ton of stuff to do on my list. So I will let you go. Obviously, Predator, you get your score for wherever that is at the 20-minute point. So we're going to keep that up. If you win, you'll see the email saying that you won and another free month in the room. So we shall see. Obviously, I'm sitting around 0.7. We'll score those with a micrometer if we need to. Otherwise, you can trust us on it. If you don't like the way we scored it, then send me your math, and we shall see. Luck and selling off. Don't like that. All right. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy the big 3-day weekend. Get out there with your families if you can, and we will see you guys back on Monday. Have a good one.